Since the start of 2024, there has been a lot going on behind the scenes, including our most recent trip here in Oregon. Though before we dive into that, we have to catch you up on all our travels and the latest life updates, as it's certainly been a while. In January, Shelby and I took on a small trip to Canada to kick off the new year right. Though little did we know, this adventure would set the pace for all those following behind it. From witnessing the stunning landscape views, hearing sea lions from camp, and taking on a Via Ferrata route in the snow, Canada was such an incredible time. Not even 1 week later, we were packing our bags yet again, though this time for my very first international trip. The destination, you ask? Finland. Well, technically, we also visited Iceland and a very small part of Sweden, though the goal was to embrace a winter trip in the far north of Finland, well above the Arctic Circle, for a chance to see the Northern Lights. While this trip was not exactly in the realm of overlanding, it was an experience of a lifetime, taking on adventure travel and being able to see a small glimpse of what this landscape had to offer. Now, without giving away too much of this trip, and to give me time to edit, be sure to stay on the lookout for a future dedicated episode showcasing our travels here. I think you guys will appreciate this one. Hiding behind the scenes for several weeks now has been major updates to the Jeep. From our initial trip in Canada, there was one key element that could have made it even better, and that is gear management. Unfortunately, the Grand Cherokee platform is not one of great interior room. While I absolutely love this vehicle for many reasons, storage space certainly comes at a premium. After playing what I felt was an endless Tetris game of gear shuffling between personal bags, camera gear, recovery gear, the fridge, and all the other essentials that come along, we noticed that there was a serious underutilization of the full-length up-top Overland rack. So instead of dedicating the whole roof for that one tent alone, we decided to transition the setup by mounting two 95-liter cargo cases, the max tracks, and the awning to the rack to take advantage of all the real estate up there. One case will be for all things tools and recovery. The second case will be for any random camping gear, as well as storage for dry goods. Where are we going to sleep now, you ask? That's easy. Thanks to Car Camp. They make an interior sleeping platform for nearly any vehicle, make, and model. The platform is not permanent, allowing the Jeep to be used for other means if needed. It does, however, offer storage underneath, thanks for the nearly 7 inches of room. We've decided to use this space for all things kitchen and galley, as well as any other needs depending on the trip. To make things nice and comfy, we moved the Hest memory foam mattress from the rooftop tent to the sleeping platform. Add in a good sleeping bag and pillows, and camp is now set up the moment we put the Jeep in park. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Michael, you're seriously changing the setup again? And I'd answer, absolutely. If you haven't been around the channel for that long, you'll notice that I like to switch things up and try out new opportunities to see what works for our needs at that time. Over the years, not only have I switched sleeping arrangements numerous times, but even a vehicle for that matter. These recent changes will help for better gear organization, saving weight, especially on the roof, and gaining back a few ticks on that precious MPG. Oh, not to mention, we also upgraded the tires to the new Falcon AT4Ws. While they are still very new with only one trip on them so far, I'll be putting together a formal review going over these updates, including the increased tire size change. If you've managed to stay with me so far, kudos to you. As you can see, 2024 has been a busy one, and we've certainly hit the ground running. So much so that it included a small U-Haul trailer and a quick 2.5 hour drive down south to the greater Portland area, where Shelby and I will be temporarily calling home. You may recall in previous episodes, but Shelby is a travel nurse, meaning she takes contracts for 3 months at a time in various cities across the country. For the start of this year, I'll be tagging along with her exploring Oregon in all its beauty. So let's get you back to the action for the beginning of a new chapter. So it's my first time actually trying to do winter dispersed camping in Oregon. A lot of the areas are just 100% blocked by snow, inaccessible, or they're gated or seasonal closures or whatever it might be. So we're gonna backtrack a bit. We might go to a familiar spot that I know of that's below the snow line, or we might get lucky and find something along the way. Either way, we're gonna have some fun and see where the roads take us.
I think we're gonna get lucky.
You think we'll get lucky? I think so. It's a beautiful day. Sunshine, snow is just glistening, and partly blue skies. So, I mean, the weather-wise, it's perfect. Yeah. Here we go. Remember that sunshine I just mentioned a moment ago? Well, after driving up near 4,200 feet in elevation at a snow park on the base of Mount Hood, the weather almost immediately changed with clouds and heavy snowfall. While it was incredible to see in the moment, we couldn't help but see glimpses of the mountain standing tall in all its glory. So we patiently waited for the clouds to pass, and what we saw after was absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, luck would continue to not be on our side this trip. After driving around for nearly most of the day in search of camp, we simply could not find anything. Blame it on me for being a newbie in this area. The goal was to simply set up shop around the base of Mount Hood, get a little winter camping in, and hit the trail for a hike the following day. But as with any adventure, even the best laid plans can go astray. So, it was time to regroup and figure out plan C or D at this point, but it also didn't help hunger was setting in from dinner time quickly approaching. So we've pulled over, and thankfully we both have some service here on the roadside, trying to figure out where camp for tonight's actually going to be. We've massively struck out. I had about, a dozen spots mapped out that looked good. Some for recommendations from my Overlander, others that just plotted from Gaia GPS, and then one that I had been to from a recent snow camping trip back in November. However, what I'm finding is that a lot of these areas closed down in December, basically through April, which I guess would have been public knowledge had I looked at it. But here we are. So 4 o'clock on our first night with no actual direction of where we're going to go and where we're going to camp. But we're figuring it out. The powers that be, between 2 phones and a little bit of research, we'll find something. It may not be glamorous, but here we are. I usually don't have this much of an issue, but you know, obviously after years in Washington, you develop a inventory of places that you know are good depending on time of year, what, when, and where, and how, and then you uproot all that into a brand new place that you have no experience with, and you're trying to figure it out. So that's what we're doing. So keeping spirits high, and we'll see how late we'll find camp. Maybe in the comments you guys can put a estimated time at this minute marker in the video, what time you think we'll find camp. So here we go. With a semi-decision made and not really feeling cooking dinner at this point, we were back on the road, but not without first making a quick stop. Alright guys, well, good morning from Cape Lookout State Park and Campground. For those of you who have guessed it, we got in at,
I think 11 p.m.
Shelby says 11 p.m. I think that is correct. I do remember somewhere looking at my phone that we actually went to bed at about midnight once it was all said and done. But regardless, we are here, even though it's a campground. I know it's not hardcore dispersed camping, but when you're along the coast of Oregon, it's absolutely beautiful. Most places are campgrounds unless you go inland for disperse. But the best part was right on the other side is the ocean, so falling asleep to those waves were absolutely amazing. So the day's still young, blue skies and sunshine. We're gonna get out of here and head out and see where the rest of the day is gonna take us. I'm sure you've already seen we got a lot of stuff going on with the Jeep as far as new setup and whatnot, so we're gonna explain that not only in this video but upcoming ones as well. But let's see where the day takes us. Like many of you, my preference would have been a secluded site far off the beaten path. But to be honest, the priority of this trip was to enjoy it by getting out and doing activities rather than driving around for hours just to park like the day prior. So, having a for sure option while practically being the only ones there, it was a win in my book. The minute walk from the beach was a nice bonus as well. Though as for today, we still have our sights set for that hike as originally planned. Shelby was able to do a little research and found an easy trail not too far away, which would offer stunning views. We are here, and we've decided to do the Cape Trail, 2.4 miles. It's nice and flat. This one takes you to the beach, but it's rated as moderate to difficult because it's a vertical ascent coming back out. But we have plans to catch sunset at the beach, so that's what we'll do. Our next stop was finding a perfect spot for sunset. With the clear weather, we knew this was an opportunity not to be missed, so quickly after our hike, we headed for the beach to see what we could find. Ooh, this is kind of spooky. Oh wow, the sound of the ocean. Like while you're inside the rock, that's crazy.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Keeping things easy, we decided to head back to the campground from the night prior to get a start on dinner and relax. After a busy day, the thought of hanging out by the fire earlier in the evening as opposed to later sounded mighty nice. Of all the changes so far in the setup, one item I'll be dialing in is a smaller fridge to fit behind the front seats on the floor. For now, I'm using the ICECO VL35 Pro S fridge with their magnetic battery pack. As an interim solution, this setup is honestly really nice. Being able to power the fridge off the Jeep while driving, to then having portability of the fridge once at camp, makes reaching for dinner items a lot easier. I've been able to average about 2 full days off the 250 watt-hour battery pack, which has been great for our shorter trips. Between the two of us, we're able to take the fridge in and out of the car relatively easy, though it will be nice to have a more stationary setup in the future. That's all the time I have for you guys in this episode. As you can officially see, we're kicking off this year in high gear with plenty on the schedule. Stay tuned for what we have in store next. As always, I sincerely appreciate your support, and until next time, safe travels.